we made. Guess I never felt the part. I'm kicking all the sheets away. Oh, I'm jumping off a sinking ship. Guess I should've read the stars. I would've known that it would end like this. Oh, you never made me decent. Oh, you never made me strong. Oh, you never let me finish. No, you never. Driving down a dead-end street till I let another dragon fly. Gonna sweep another off her feet. Oh, I'm tripping off a sinking ship. Guess I should've read the stars. I would've known that it would end like this. You never made me decent. Oh, you never made me strong. Oh, you never let me finish. No, you never. I throw my hands up. I've already made my mind up. Never get down on my luck. Never get down on my hands up. I've already made my mind up. Sorry I messed your life up. I'ma get on with my hands up. I've already made my mind up. Never get down on my luck. Never get down on my hands up. I've already made my mind up. Sorry I messed your life up. I'ma get on with my hands up. I've already made my mind up. Never get down on my luck. Never get down on my hands up. I've already made my mind up. Sorry I messed your life up. I'ma get on with my
Give me some time to think. I'm in the bathroom looking at me. Facing the mirror is all I need. Wait until the Reaper takes my life. Never gonna get me out alive. I will live 1,000 million lives.
My patience is waning, is this entertaining? Our patience is waning, is this entertaining? Got this feeling, yeah, you know, where I'm losing all control. There's this magic in my bones. Got this feeling in my soul. Go ahead and throw your stones. There's this magic in my bones.
Playing with the stick of dynamite. There was never gray and black and white. There was never wrong till there was right. Feeling like a boulder hurtling. Seeing all the vultures circling. Burning in the flames I'm working in. Turning in the bed, it's darkening.
Our patience is waning, is this entertaining? Our patience is waning, is this entertaining? Got this feeling, yeah, you know, where I'm losing all control. There's this magic in my bones. Got this feeling in my soul. Go ahead and throw your stones. There's this magic in my bones.
Mirror of my mind, turning the pages of my life. Walking the path so many paced 1,000,000 times. Drown out the voices in the air, leaving the ones that never cared. Picking the pieces up and building to the sky. My patience is waning, is this entertaining? My patience is waning.
Is this entertaining? Got this feeling, yeah, you know, where I'm losing all control. There's this magic in my bones. Got this feeling in my soul. Go ahead and throw your stones. There's this magic in my bones. There goes my mind. There goes my mind.
like you. Some things look better, baby, just passing through.
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no, no, no. And this is what it should have said. Till touchdown brings me round again. Will I fall in the bottom? Can't be dead. No, no, no. If you wanna run away with me, I know a galaxy and I can take you for a ride. I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop for life. Glitter in the sky, glitter in my eyes, shining just the way I like. If you're feeling like you need a little bit of company, you met me at the perfect time. You want me, I want you, baby, my sugar boo. I'm levitating, the Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you. Moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. I believe that you're for me. I feel it in our energy. I see it's written in the stars. We can go wherever, so let's do it now or never, baby. Nothing's ever, ever too far. Glitter in the sky, glitter in our eyes, shining just the way we are. I feel like we're forever every time we get together, but whatever, let's get lost on Mars. You want me, I want you, baby, my sugar boo. I'm levitating, the Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. You can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. You can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket, watch it blast off. And I'm feeling so electric, dance on our off. And even if I wanted to, I can't stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. My love is like a rocket, watch it blast off. And I'm feeling so electric, dance my ass off. And even if I wanted to, I can't stop. Yeah, 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 yeah. You want me, I want you, baby, my sugar boo. I'm levitating, the Milky Way, we're renegading. I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. You can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm levitating. You can fly away with me tonight. You can fly away with me tonight. Baby, let me take you for a ride. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you.
Check, check.
Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating.
I wish I found some better sounds no one's ever heard. I wish I had a better voice that sang some better words. I wish I found some chords in an order that is new. I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what people think.
My name's blurred.
old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time.
Test 1 2 1 1 2. Test 1 2. Hello. Test 1 2 1 2. Test. Test 1 2. Okay, perfect. Now I'll go to the washroom. It's like.
Да, тут это сложно будет. А? Да, ты будешь первым. Ребята, в общем, мы так сейчас рассуждаем. Люди сильно опаздывают, и примерно еще полсписка тех, кто планировал прийти, не дошел. Есть две версии: начинать как есть или подождать еще немного. Что скажете те, кто дошел? Как у вас настроение подождать? Или можем потихонечку начинать, и все, кто захотели, подойдут в течение митапа. Тогда перемещайтесь в зал, чтобы спикерам было не так скучно общаться и показывать свои презентации, и мы начнем. And okay, guys, today we have a lot of English-speaking guys. For example, all our speakers are just speaking English, so that's why I just move into English. And I hope that everyone can understand what we're gonna do today. And if not, so we have a special translator, guys. So, and if you wanna ask something or repeat something, you just can raise your hand, and we just stop, and then we just double it on Russian, I think, with our big helper, Yulia. So, guys, can I ask you to join the places? And we're gonna stop.
Testing 1 2. Hey guys. Hey guys, and thank you. Hey guys, let's make our way into the. Let's see how many people know English. The people that don't end up listening to us to come to sit down, it means that you guys don't know English. Is that right?
You just ask
so
us
we're
to do
requesting
something.
everyone's presence at in front here.
How to check? You just need to ask us to do something, and if we are not got it, just we don't do this.
We don't understand.
So everyone is here, and today we have two speakers, and all of our presentations will be about the blockchain technologies. And the first speaker, he is Zeshan, and he will tell us about the gamification through the tokenization. And
Exactly.
I think it's interesting topic, because today is a Black Friday, and it is a day that everyone who wanna buy something, I think you already need to get some points, some benefits from this, yes? And I think your speech is mostly about this, how to get it from the Web3 null field, yeah? So do that, we are here.
Thank you, Svetlana. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Kongworking Space, for hosting this event. So as Svetlana said, if there's something that you don't understand, then we can always stop and get it translated. Otherwise, maybe we'll run it through some AI translator afterwards, and you can watch it after or something. But welcome. Yes, you're right, it's Black Friday. So this is an interesting story about Black Friday, is that this marks the day that all of the retail people, the people that run stores, they go from being in the black, which means being in debt from all year, to starting to make profit. So from now until New Year's, they actually run up sales and all these kinds of things so that they can make the most amount of money. So it's an interesting day to be talking about gamification and tokenization, because the brands that have figured this out, they completely control people's minds so that they can actually come, and become their customers. So my name is Zeshan. I run a company called Nature of Commerce. I do consultation on tokenization and gamification. I also have two projects that are Web3 based. The one is called Hazel Hearts, which is we're basically building a sustainable farming game where the reward is actually real world ownership of a farming property. I'm also running a company called Fan City, which is a sports fan platform, engagement platform that allows for fans to trade tokens of their favorite teams. So my background, I've done a lot of education in blockchain and A16C, InSeed, graduate of Outlier Ventures, Web3 accelerator program, and I'm part of the Chainlink build program. So if you guys have any questions about Chainlink or Web3 in general, happy to answer them. So when you talk about tokenization, it's something that's very interesting. I would even say before 1700s, but we start with copper tokens. We trade with tokens, then trading stamps, box tops, miles and points. So when you take a flight, you get miles. You get to take more flights because you take more miles, and you can stay in nice hotels because of the flights that you take. So these loyalty programs have been around since the 80s. Loyalty cards, I think what really made loyalty programs step to the next level is mobile apps, because that gave the chance for a brand to speak directly with their user. And then finally, digital tokens. So from copper tokens all the way to digital tokens. Now, what drives this inside of our brains? If you think about it, it's something called gamification. At the very core of all of these loyalty programs or rewards programs is gamification. Your brain gets some kind of a signal that makes it excited, and the result is that they get some dopamine, and you want to come back and you want to do it again. So you create some kind of a habit from this type of a process that occurs. So it's no secret that the biggest brands in the world is the one that you see on this on this list here. They're the best at loyalty programs. They're the very best at understanding their customer and understanding how to speak to their customer and understanding how to reward their customer. So when you really look at what they're doing, they're using triggers and prompts. They're using action and engagement, progression and feedback, and rewards. And this all matters to the user to the point where they come back for more and more. So let's talk about something that's very habitual, which is coffee. Everybody likes their daily coffee, but when it comes to, in the US, the company that is best known for coffee, which is Starbucks, they've made a coffee habit into a Starbucks habit. So you go into Starbucks on a day-to-day basis and you spend your money there, and it becomes this habit because they're making you, gain achievements as you go. They're making you feel like you're getting something from the brand. Really what they're doing is they're just saying, if you shop with us all year round, then we're going to give you some free stuff. But it really makes it feel like that's the place I have to go to get my coffee every day. If you asked me if Nike would be around if it wasn't for this sort of digital transformation, I would say they'd just be like another company. But what they did was they started to organize their app around how people use their product, not how to get them to buy the product, but to understand the communities that are building around their products. So you can see that they're not selling you shoes here, but you can see that their brand, continues to grow year over year. Even during COVID, it was continually, on an upward trend. And that's because they were so good at building up their community that they could sell digital shoes, ones that you don't even wear, and they could make money off of their customer. So that's something that's kind of incredible. As we mentioned, it's Black Friday, so these are habits that can grow and, maybe not bring the best out of people. You can see all the memes happening here, and this is like, I think we have some US people in the audience, and you can attest that this is how it goes. Like, people are crazy. The second the doors open, they come in and they run and take everything they can because they think that they're really getting some value. So, token programs can go wrong also. And, I wanted to share with you guys this very interesting, it's actually a series on Netflix, and it's about well, I'll let it play.
Now, the more Pepsi you drink, the more great stuff you're going to get.
Play that again?
No fine print came up. I don't care what anybody else says. That is a legit offer.
In the 90s, Pepsi was famous for the advertising.
It was a cool club to be in.
Different world then, different John. This commercial comes on. Harrier Jet, 7 million Pepsi points. I really saw this as an opportunity to change my world. I'm like, I want the jet. My mind couldn't stop racing to try to figure out how to make this happen.
We just couldn't drink that much Pepsi.
I need to buy 1.4 million 12-packs. I knew there was one person that I could potentially get to bite on this.
And then he pitched this idea. It's crazy, it's insane.
6 warehouses, somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 people. It would cost $4.3 million. But I'm reading the fine print.
We found a loophole. Here we go.
Bring on Pepsi.
Hey, somebody sent us a check for $700,000 for the Harrier Jet.
What?
What? 7 million points, Harrier Jet? You saw it.
It's clearly a joke.
This was a money grab opportunity.
And then they changed the ad.
We're just kidding here.
A big corporation knows how to game the system. I'd use different language if I weren't on camera.
You're on Netflix, so you can use whatever language you want.
Fuck them.
Now, the more Pepsi you drink.
You know, what came of this, you know, this is a very interesting story. I'll explain it a little bit further. That this guy, he saw an ad on TV, and he saw that if he got 7 million Pepsi points, you know, if he bought a certain number of Pepsis, then they would give him a fighter jet. Now, of course, a fighter jet is over $100 million, so it made a lot of sense to him that if you could buy $1.4 million worth of Pepsi and get a fighter jet, it's worth it. So it became a very interesting story, and I encourage you to watch it. But this is an example of if a rewards program goes wrong. So really, you know, like you can't just, oh, yeah, there we go. You can't just pay people constantly for, there we go. You can't just pay people, you know, otherwise you're going to run, your business is going to, you know, go bankrupt. So you have to start to understand what really drives people. Of course, you know, if you give them money, they're going to take it. We all work jobs. You know, we are gamified in this way. We work a job, we get paid, we go back to the job. So, you know, you really have to understand internally what is driving them. And internally, people really want to be part of a community. Look around us right now. We're in a co-working space where there's a community that's developed, and this is what really drives people, to be part of a community, to be encouraged by the community, to gain, you know, different perks and gain purpose and fun, you know, through engagement. So it's really interesting because we're really going through a transformational time. Before you would have a company, right? You'd have a company like Pepsi. It might be a public company and there'd be shareholders, and then there's people that buy the product. But now, actually, people that buy the product, they want to be part of the ownership of the company also. And so this is moving into a transformational time. This is probably because we went from broadcast advertising, like we saw in that commercial there, to targeting, which means now you're online and people can see what your activities are, and they, you know, send you the right product at the right time. And now we've come to a place where you actually depend on your community to understand where you want to use your money. So you have influencers, you have people that do reviews. You start to get into a place where it's not about what the brand's doing, but how people are talking about it, and how your people are talking about it, more importantly. And so when you start to think about building a new company or a new product, you know, it makes a lot of sense to put the community first. So that way you can start to understand what the feedback is on your product right from the beginning. And you can start to create this feedback loop that allows you to make your community feel like they are part of the company from day one. And that's a really exciting thing. Not just because it makes it easier to introduce a new product to the market, but also because you can actually get these people to invest in your company or to fund, you know, the support of your company. Now, this isn't something that happens overnight. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You know, when you see tokens and crypto, you think people come in and they get stuff for free and then it's shut down the next day. No, this is something that requires a lot of planning. So when you think about the different types of tokens that you can start to program, you start to understand that there's a high level of complexity to this, and it becomes important to pre-plan all of this stuff before it even hits the market. To start small and then to grow based on what your community is telling you. So then what ends up happening is you have this like little string of community that might be buying utility tokens from you. You've got, you know, your investors that are buying equity tokens from you, and then you've got you've got the developers that are getting paid in some other kind of currency token. So now you've got a platform that doesn't really need venture capital. You actually have your funding model around you and in front of you. So this, for somebody like me, previously we would have to build a game. We're building a game, as I mentioned, and it would take a full studio, full group of people to make something like this. But now, because your community is part of the ownership of the game, the players themselves are part of the game, they end up really supporting how you're building the company. So in terms of our project, as I mentioned, we're building a game. What's interesting about this game is it's actually backed up by real world ownership. So people that play the game, they play it far enough, they get rewards, and they can convert those rewards into actually owning a real hazelnut farm. So our game is called Hazel Hearts. You learn how to do hazelnut farming. You learn and earn is what we call it. And then finally, when you get to a certain stage of the game, you can actually convert your tokens into actually having a DAO ownership of a piece of a company that basically owns property that harvests hazelnuts on a year-to-year basis. So this is something that we're showing that is real world. You see Yulia here picking some hazelnuts. That's on one of our hazelnut farms. That turns into a game. This is actually a 3D scan of our region and then kind of illustrated. And we've used a full stack of existing products to actually start to build this game. This is something that we call composability. It means that you can take your entire game and actually build it on other platforms and bring it together because it is decentralized. So, the advice I have for you, that is, if you're taking your first steps and starting to think about, building a token into your own company or your own project, is to start with your social ecosystem. So if you look around, Kongworking space, there's, a number of people that come in here every day. They're the people that are your stakeholders, the investors, the people that are maintaining or running your business, helping you run your business. They're the stakeholders. You understand that people are paying on a monthly basis to have a desk here, to work here. You understand that they get incentives. They come to events like this and they get a free beer and they get to learn something new. And then you've got, the method of token distribution, which is actually digital, so it makes things a lot cheaper and a lot easier to do because people have their own wallets. So now, I guess I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to reward you guys for listening to me this whole time, and I'm going to ask you guys a question. We're going to take a vote. You can either do question and answer. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, or we can have some movie time. Which one do you guys choose?
First, we are asking you here.
All right, so for the people that want question and answer, put their hands up.
During the thinking about the questions, so we are on the border on the loyalty system with that guys who are coming every day to co-working space. But I think the most things to figure out here in this field, it is an idea. What can be tokenized? What can be in this field? So if you can to answer on this question.
That's a very good question. So when you think about the fact that you have multi-layers of different people that are coming in here on a day-to-day basis. So you have people that are just here to use the desk. So immediately you fractionalize the space, right? So let's start with that. You fractionalize the space because you're giving them a place to work. Now, if you say, I'll give you 20% off if you give me, 10% of your of the equity of your company, and I'll give you a year to work here. Now all of a sudden, you fractionalize the business, the time that they're doing, the things that they're doing, the things that they're working on in the space, right? Now, if you make all of these group of people, if they've been here for 1 year and they've been paying on a regular basis, you make them part of a special club, and they say, 10% of everything that is, in our fund, we're going to give to you guys. So it's like a multi-layer that it's up to the people and how committed and dedicated they are to your community, and you can, deal with it accordingly. I hope I answered your question.
Cool. But how can it look like in this Web 3.0?
Oh, so that's an interesting question. I kind of ran through very quickly this slide here, this is basically a rewards token with a utility token. So a rewards token with a utility token could be, and then a little bit of equity token. So you basically program a token as an NFT, which is attached to a smart contract, which is attached to a wallet. So if you're, every month you are going to give them access to the space, right? And if they have a certain token, then they get access to that space. If they don't pay for that month, then they're token gating is what we call it.
Paying by NFT like that, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
But actually, if they didn't use like some MetaMask or something like that, how we can attend them to do that?
This is a problem that has been plaguing, like creating trouble for Web3 for the last 4 years. And in the same time, very smart people have been thinking about this also. And so when you think about Web3, it's a transition from Web 2. And Web 2 is very driven by like accounts and dashboards. Like when you go to your mobile banking app and you see, how you get in, and so you have to take away the difficulties, the things that make difficulties. And so if you're asking very specifically, there's a new token. There's a new token that is called account abstraction on the Ethereum network that enables you to not have to force somebody to connect a wallet before they get on. They can carry out certain activities, and it can happen in the back end, on your back end, that you're keeping track of all these activities, or you could run all the activities that happened over the last year. And then when they do decide to take ownership of it, when they take it off of your network, that's when they have to connect a Web3 wallet to take it off. But it's not that they're not gaining, those rewards. I like to say that blockchain is very much a back-end technology, and you have to make sure that the front end is still adaptable to how they normally operate, and you have to educate them, first. And so you can't just move them into a space where they're being, forced to connect a wallet and these kind of things. But that doesn't mean that they're not taking part in the rewards program either.
Yeah, that is the things every time we're thinking about, because it is really look fancy and interesting and gamificating, blah 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 blah. But just on that time that we're gonna ask our residents to download this MetaMask and Polygon, blah blah blah, and this is a barrier for them, and they say, okay, maybe I just pay for my pass and that's it.
Yeah, and so this happens all the time in the Web3 world, and then what they do is they say, well, there's an airdrop coming, right? And so you have a certain amount of time to connect your wallet, and if you don't connect your wallet, then you could potentially lose out, and it goes back into the treasury of, it's like if you say, the government actually has the same problem. They might send a check that is for social welfare, but to the wrong address because the person moved. And that check might never get, put into the bank. So they decided, okay, now let's try to wire them money. So it becomes more digitized, right? And it becomes easier for everybody involved. Well, we're going to a place where you know, as I showed you, tokens become digitized to the point where they exist on a blockchain. It's a matter of you being able to go and retrieve them for yourself. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Everyone else who wanna ask something for Zeshan?
You guys have any questions?
Yeah. Guys?
Yeah. 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 Yeah, of course.
Maybe you just wanted to discuss about something in this field. Right?
Sure.
I'll give you the microphone because we make a stream it.
Yeah.
That looks like it's hearkening to BJ Fogg's work, Trigger Action Reward, and I just wanted to know if you had any interaction with the Stanford Persuasive Technology Institute. And
No, I haven't.
BJ Fogg's work with.
No, I've never. I would love for you to share that with me because I'm always interested in learning about new things. But what you said, trigger action response.
Reward.
Reward.
TAR,
Yeah, I mean these are things that a lot of really good marketers have figured out, and it's scary how much they figured it out. And if you really think about, there is an ethics level of ethics involved here, because when you think about VR and total immersion, right? Then you start to think about how much control those triggers, responses, rewards will have on you. They'll start to understand exactly how your eye reacts, already can to some degree, that how your eye reacts to a certain piece of information and feeds you more of that information. Right now, they're seeing how you engage with content. You know, like you click on an Instagram or TikTok, and they know that, well, that person's kind of interested in something like this. But when you can start to see it based on how your pupil is moving, that becomes very scary, and that's when ethics really come to the forefront, where you have to make sure that you're not, you know, basically conning people out of their whole, you know, life, because you can do it. It's possible. You can manipulate people with this stuff. There's no question about it. It's been proven. There's not too many other reasons why people would push their way through a department store than they're being manipulated, right?
My last follow-up question is,
sure.
What assumption or core hypothesis do you have that you feel like the major players in the game have gotten wrong? So what if you understand my question?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think we can go back to this one right here, and this is where they've got it wrong, is like they're still thinking that like they can run reward programs on their users without making them in some way shareholders. So this is very kind of, I would say, two-dimensional, where you've got people that are making money from other people. Now, this is an interesting proposition, because when you remove the shareholder, right, then all of a sudden costs in some way start to go down, because you're not looking to marginalize every single engagement. You're actually looking to retain the long-term relationship with the user, right, in this model, right? So this is where they'll always get it wrong, because they're thirsty for profits. So if you think about Google, right, I always like to use, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to use the example. My wife, puts, places that she likes on the Google map. And I always ask her, what is the reward? And she's like, well, I got to the next level. But at some point, somebody's going to start paying you for that information, right? And so to Google, it's like, it's another interaction. It's another point where people can, interact with the business, all that kind of stuff. But they're not actually paying people for their time. They're not even giving them free space, free, Gmail space extra, they're not giving them anything. And so I think this is the main place where they got it wrong, because they're very used to getting these profits and then putting them in the hands of the shareholders. And what you have to realize is that the shareholders are now your users. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think should do it that's next time I ask her to share this list with me,
yeah.
with these points. And it is main thanks for your work. Everyone else wanna ask about something? If not,
can we show the video?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Of course.
Okay, let's show the video, because
Let's
this is kind of an This was actually, this video was made, we'll only watch a minute or two of it, but it's very fascinating to see what our future could be like.
Fantastic. Great. Nice. Great.
Más tarde, apúrate si quieres una buena calificación.
Voy lo más rápido que puedo.
¿Has pensado en correr? Es saludable y eficiente.
Seguro que no hay más trabajos disponibles. Yo estudié para ser profesora y estoy haciendo mercados.
Y además puedes quedarte con los puntos de fidelización. Eres una monje afortunada. Tienes que confiar en la aplicación. ¿Te sientes inspirada? Gracias. Chao.
¿Quién soy yo? No, eso no es lo que quiero decir. ¿Para dónde voy? No. Puedo volver a empezar.
Reset your identity. Your loyalty points will be removed. So,
olvídalo.
It's really fascinating.
Estoy libre de mi ira.
It's very close to this world.
Libre de mi tristeza.
Looking like a Black Mirror.
Black Mirror, exactly. Yeah. These great people.
Adiós. Olá, me llamo María.
Alright, so I got the idea. Ready?
Bueno. Hola otra vez. Ay, no,
So can you guys imagine living in this world? I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah.
I just waiting for advertisement.
¿Qué está pasando?
Buen día, Emilio. ¿Qué puedo hacer por usted?
¿Qué está pasando? Mis puntos están bien.
No se preocupe, sus puntos están seguros conmigo. ¿Le puedo ayudar en algo más, Emilio?
Yo no soy Emilio, yo soy Juliana Restrepo.
Por favor, espere.
Hola, Juliana Restrepo. Me alegra verte. ¿Qué puedo hacer por ti?
Mis puntos están bien. ¿Qué está pasando?
Tranquila, todo está bien. Parece que alguien está intentando vulnerar su cuenta. Por favor, espere mientras reinicio su dispositivo.
That's intriguing. That's incredible.
Hola, Juliana. Me alegra verte. Hoy te ves hermosa. ¿Estás estrenando zapatos?
Ya lo arreglaron. Tengo que seguir trabajando.
Estoy trabajando en eso, pero necesito verificar tu información biométrica. Por favor, sigue la línea azul hasta el centro de servicio más cercano para confirmar tu identidad.
Sí, pero mis puntos están bien.
Todo está bien. Chao.
Is that good? Yeah? Everybody get the idea?
¿Qué? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué? ¿Qué está pasando? No, mis puntos, mis puntos.
Sorry.
¿Qué hago? ¿Qué hago?
New life begins.
¿Qué es eso?
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
If you wanna contact me, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help with any projects that you guys have.
I'm not choosing that kind of life. Like horror, I'm not choosing that.
There you go. Thank you, Svetlana.
Thank you, I appreciate you. Let's applause one more time, please.
Thank you. Have a good video. Yeah.
And we have another two speakers today. First time they will speak in two persons. So let's help Sash, help please with technical. And so our next speech, it will be about the real estate, but it's not the usual real estate. It is like a tokenization in the real estate field. So we have two speakers, Grigol and Alexander, and I think it is your tour, guys.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so first of all, if there are any questions, I can answer and understand both in English and Russian, so that shouldn't be a problem. And yeah, otherwise we can begin. So, hello everyone, I'm Alexander Sainishvili, and today we're going to be talking about fractionalized real estate. We're going to talk about what fractionalized real estate is and how it can be implemented and what benefits it has soon. But first of all, again, I'm Alexander Sainishvili and my partner is Grigol Robakidze. We're both part of Estriel, a company that does fractionalized real estate and real estate data and analysis on the Georgian market. And so first of all, to begin, our agenda is going to be, first of all, what is fractionalized real estate? What are its benefits? How actually the fractionalization process actually works, how it can be implemented tech-wise, and lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about how we do it and what information and research we do in the Georgian market. So first of all, what is fractional or fractionalized real estate? Well, fractionalization is a simple process of splitting a whole into smaller fractional parts, and it's applied in many areas of finances specifically. First of all, for example, stocks is a fraction of a company. That's actually where it started, but the very first fractionalization that actually happened was by the Dutch in 1588, when they actually started to fractionalize ships. So for example, if you wanted to sell something to, for example, China, if you had your own ship, if it sunk, you would lose everything. And so a bunch of merchants started to get together, and instead of each merchant having their own ship, they would all own 10% or 20% of everyone's ship. And that way, if one ship sunk, they'll still have a lot of profit, or at least they wouldn't lose everything they have. The same process has since been applied to companies. It has been applied to even fine art and a lot of other, for example, even with cryptocurrency companies, they can be tokenized or fractionalized to shares and so on and so on. So it's a very popular financial strategy to ensure that more people can afford something and that it can become more liquid, because again, it's easier to trade, for example, one share of a company than it is to sell an entire company itself. Now, to talk a little bit about the benefits of why fractionalization is so good. Again, first of all, it lowers the cost to enter the market. It's far easier for people to buy a share or a token that costs 10,000 than it is for them to buy something or a house that costs maybe 100,000 or $1 million. So it's easier to enter. And that's actually the first part, because for example, in the United States, which has got the most robust data about real estate, only around 6 million people can actually buy and sell real estate every year. Of course, sometimes it fluctuates, it's new, but on average, 6 million is the amount of people that frequently trade and have turnover on real estate. But while if, for example, even it was the real estate that they're buying and selling was fractionalized to 10%, so you could buy 10% of house, the number actually rises to 60 million. So that's a huge change. And of course, when you have a market of 60 million, there's not going to be only more trading and more people buying houses, but there's also going to be more internal trading, more turnover. And with more turnover, you can get better monitoring, you can get, again, also higher prices, as well as it will be easier to get profits, because real estate is one of the most reliable sources of wealth generation, as well as rent is also one of the most reliable sources of income, because people need to live. You can live without a car, you can live without other amenities, but you cannot live without a house. You either need to buy it, which again becomes cheaper through fractionalization, or you need to rent it, which can also become cheaper through fractionalization, because more people can afford to invest in houses, resulting in more housing being built. And the second reason is security. When you diversify, already fractionalize, your investment becomes more diverse. In a traditional real estate, you can only buy, let's say in the most opportunistic and the best scenario for you, you could buy one house for 100,000, just as an example. If, for example, that house burns down or something happens, you lose all of your money. You no longer have either an investment that can generate wealth or revenue, neither do you have the 100,000 that you invested in it. But if you fractionalize and you split that money and buy it or invest it in 10 or even 5 real estate assets, then even if 2 or 3 burn down, you still have at least 40% of your wealth, and you can still have a way to generate more revenue by either selling the houses or just renting them out. So that secures your investment and your wealth. Now, how does that actually work? To simplify it in the basic sense, it has got 3 parts. First of all, you need to fractionalize or you need to tokenize your real estate. That can be done through a lot of different ways. One of the ways that's the easiest, for example, is through, again, tokenization by using blockchain or cryptocurrencies or NFTs or any other technology that's just based on blockchain, because it's very difficult to destroy and it's difficult to hijack. Another one is one that we have also researched, which is through actual legal means. Some countries actually have a framework which allows multiple people to own and manage real estate. Some have battle frameworks, some have different. For example, in Georgia, there is no direct framework, but due to a combination of laws, you can do that. But it's a bit complicated if you're just a person doing it, so you need someone intermediary to do it for you. But it allows multiple people to co-own a house, and you can have that person co-own multiple houses. For example, someone can have 10% of a house in Batumi, 30% in Kutaisi, have 2 apartments in Tbilisi, and by that way they're diversified. So if, for example, housing prices of one city fall because maybe an earthquake hits or something, but they're still secure, they're hedged against even in different cities. But for example, one thing that actually was seen in Georgia was when a lot of refugees and immigrants came to Tbilisi, houses prices started to rise there. But as more and more people started to go to Tbilisi, others and new refugees started to go to, for example, Batumi. And because of that, while housing prices in Tbilisi started to drop slightly, they started to rise in Batumi. So if you had the 2 properties, one there and one here, you would not have lost any money, despite the fact that the prices in Tbilisi got lowered. Now, how do you actually implement this tech-wise? Legally, of course, it depends on what legislature you're in. But it's not as simple because, first of all, who determines what the price of the fractionalized real estate is? Who monitors price changes? Who monitors, for example, that if one person wants to renovate the house or if another person thinks that they want to get out of the house, who monitors who owns what fraction? Because the government only has, okay, these people bought a house here. And you have the document. But if you have to run to a lawyer every single time to say, hey, I sold 5% of my house here and I want to buy 10% there, or I want to buy 2% of 10 houses, you need to go to a lawyer 10 times and get 10 different documents of transfer. That's very costly and that's very time consuming, because you need, especially if you're a foreigner, you need to go physically there, because if, for example, in Georgia, you don't have a Georgian ID card that allows you to digitally sign your documents. So that's very time consuming. Because of that, it requires actually quite a lot of technology to implement and a lot of data. This is a snapshot from our application. And this is actually all the data that you need to collect to successfully implement fractional real estate, or any real estate investment. Each of the dots here represents a house listing that, you can see the scale over on the other side. That scale is rent profitability scale currently. And in order to make your investments and your fractional investments be profitable and actually useful, you need to understand the market, you need to understand the trends, you need to understand where you can actually buy. Because yeah, you can maybe think that, hey, if I buy a house in Vak, that's going to be more profitable, but that's not always the guarantee. A pipe might have burst underneath that specific house, and because of that, it's basically unsellable. You need to know that information, and especially if you're maybe from another city, or if you're from another country, but even if you're in Tbilisi, you're not going to know that information intrinsically. You need to collect all the data, and especially if you're going into a country that doesn't have as much digitalization, for example, as Georgia didn't used to have, or a lot of other countries, even in Southern Europe, don't have. You can't just Google that. You need either some type of tool or something to connect that. And we actually have, for example, that tool which is Redcat, which allows us to monitor market prices, assess amenity prices, analyze profitability of real estate, and predict changes depending on social trends, social cues, market cues, and so on and so forth. And that's incredibly important, not just in real estate, but generally in investment spheres. And there are very few tools which allow you to do that in real estate, just because of the fact that before recently there weren't the tools necessary to do that. And the tools that are necessary to do that, one of the most important ones is, of course, natural language models, like people you might know, ChatGPT, Copilot, Bard, so on and so forth, because that allows you to understand social cues and actually turn social cues into data that you can understand and use to calculate how much a fraction of that house might cost, how much an amenity might cost, because otherwise you need to depend on either guessing or a professional coming and assessing your property. Because how do you know that if you built a pool to your house in Batumi, how much price and how much value will that actually add to that house? You don't have any concrete data, you need to guess. But with the language models and the other tools that you need to implement, you can actually do that. First of all, you can understand what amenities, for example, different houses have, separate them into different data points, and then assign each of them value depending on the value of the house. And when you do that many times over, you can actually start to get an idea of, okay, so a pool of this size will on average add, for example, $10,000 of value. If they have, if the house was renovated before 2020, then the value increases by this much, because as you go through the entire market and tens of thousands of listings, you can actually start to separate every single amenity, every single part of a house, even rooms, into different data points and assign them value based on the aggregated information that you have. Second one is spiders and scrapers. That's a bit older of a technology, of course, but it has been recently made even better because Google and Copilot have improved the algorithms by which you can actually assess how useful a website is. And through spiders and scrapers, you can actually traverse the web, because if you actually look at the web technically, it's basically just a node graph. It's and each node just stores a different data, and each node is a website. And if you know how to traverse those in the most optimal way, as well as how to extract the data that is really important to you, you can turn that into a separate database of every single, for example, in our case, we use it to get listings data and the trading data whenever available. And based off of that, we can get a huge amount of data that we can then feed through our natural language model or through a TensorFlow or other neural network model, which actually does the final analysis. Because as much as we may try, even if we hire the best mathematicians, even if you hire the best computer scientists, no one is going to be capable of accurately and quickly analyzing hundreds of thousands of points of data on each real estate asset. No matter how good of a mathematician you are, by the time you're on your 100th property and you're trying to assess how profitable that's going to be and trying to get through all of the indexes by like rent price index, per square meter index, and a few other indexes that we use in our analysis, you're going to be tired, you're going to make mistakes. And even then, it's going to take you maybe, 2-3 days to analyze 100 properties on a mediocre level. If you want to do full analysis, each property will take a day. So you need a trained neural network, and for that you need a lot of data, and thankfully if you already did all the preliminary steps, like having your scrapers up, having your language models who can scrape the information that you get and listings data, you will have a huge data set, which then can be analyzed for patterns, which can be analyzed for similarities, and which can be analyzed for the indexes that you're tracking for, which will allow you to finally get and compress all those hundreds of thousands of data points you have into maybe 10, 20 sheets of paper, which you can then analyze yourself and formulate a strategy based on. Now, Grigol is going to talk a little bit more about the actual way that we do everything and how our company does things.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much to previous speakers for these killer presentations, and I'll try to save this traction. And we are representing Israel, our company. I'm CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, that Alexander mentioned. And let's start talking about the time when it all started. So, we are Kutaisi International University student, which is Georgia's first technical university in ranking. And we create this model, idea creation. Look how young we are here in 2022. And we just came up together in Innovation Summer School to create a startup. And we just start researching and analyzing just Georgian market. And we found that Georgian real estate market is pretty renewable and that there's great turnover. And here is statistics in last decades, more than 100% increases overall turnover, production value. I'm not gonna talk briefly about these numbers. You can see right here, sale price post-pandemic period increases by 15% and 18% in last year, and rent price increase greatly. And about the current industry of real estate in Georgia, here there are outdated methods, high prices, unavailable informations. After our research and analyzing, we start interviewing people. There are 3 segments in 3 biggest cities, Kutaisi, Tbilisi, and Batumi. Here is, we interviewing people who are professionals in this sector, interviewing people who are already real estate investors, and people who want to get in real estate market, but they can't because of high prices, and they have low, lower savings. We got approved by professionals after this problem researching. We create problems solving ideation. After ideation, we create problem solver value that Alexander already mentioned. This is value of our company. And we got approved by professionals who are, for example, PhDs in economics. They mentioned that it would be great for Georgia's GDP, and not only, also for foreign countries, for foreign investors, for example, because we are offering them comfortable service to invest from foreign country, also in Georgia, and also in foreign countries, same as well. Also, we got approved by real estate investors. At the time that Sandor already mentioned about spreading, multiplied by 10 real estates, and they mentioned that it will be more safer and comfortable for them. And we got approved by people who with lower savings, because they will get chance to get in the market and have, for example, same profit in percentages as, for example, millionaire has. And in Georgian market, I will repeat this, sale price increases greatly and rent price. And after that, it doesn't work. Yeah. Here is a simple example about financial return on investment. Let's use 2022 year statistic and increasing rent price here, and sales price increased by 18% in 2022. For example, let's get $100,000 investment in real estate plus rental revenue in year, and we will get 26.4%. increase. It doesn't work. So I will introduce you firstly our team members. Here we are, Sandro, me, who are our chief executives, and same as Georgi, and Andrea. We all are from Kutaisi International University. Georgi Melishvili is Georgia's Forbes Under 30 winner in branding and marketing, and is doing one of main stuff which called networking in Georgian market. Is helping us a lot. Here is our chief financial officer, master's degree in economics and finances, and then my assistants who are representing me right here, Zal and Tornike. They are my assistants in management part, and here our technical assistant about creating Red Cat model. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, here is our contact information, and that's all.
I would like to add one thing, that the Red Cat tool that we were talking about is not publicly available on the website. If you check it out, you'll see that it's not publicly available yet. That's on a more we discussed that on a more case-by-case basis. But if you have any questions about the technical side, how it works, how it's implemented, or how the legal side actually works, we'll be happy to talk about that, because we have concluded the legal reason how you can fractionalize or tokenize real estate. If you want to implement it yourself, you can reach out and we can discuss that with you in more detail. Thank you for your time.
Question?
Yes, please.
I want to talk, thank you for your presentation, talk about legal, First of all, in Georgia, how you planning make it in legal for foreign investors, and how?
So in Georgia, when it comes to owning real estate, there's actually only one limitation, is that foreigners cannot own land that is zoned for agricultural use. Not farms just that's directly zoned for agricultural use. Otherwise, all other real estate is actually available for foreigners to buy. And the way that the legal method that we use to fractionalize real estate, it's still available for foreigners because it doesn't require any interaction with, first of all.
You need make KYC for your investors or not?
Could you repeat? I couldn't hear.
KYC you need for these trades or not? How you see?
So we haven't discussed, at least I haven't discussed it in depth with our lawyer. I've mostly been focusing on the Georgian market and Georgian investors, where I know that I don't require it. But for foreigners, that's something that I could discuss with my lawyer. But that hasn't come up yet because of the fact that we're still starting out. We're starting to focus more on a few markets, those being mostly people that, first of all, either can or have residency in Georgia. But the general process itself is, as far as I am aware, available for foreign investors as well. It's just that I don't have as much information on that as I would like to answer that question.
Okay, but no, you need KYC and you need license, and you need very, very, you need,
one thing
because
is
you can't buy or sell RVI without KYC, and you need saving personal information about your client, and you can't collect it without license.
Well, in Georgia, at least in the real estate sector, if you're regulated by the national bank, which is what, for example, lenders and exchanges fall under, you need a license for that. Specifically, you need to register with the national bank. But real estate, at least as it's understood currently in the Georgian legal system, you do not require to register with the national bank for real estate.
You need for any way, because you can't selling it for people without KYC, and you need to receive it. And okay, national bank for now maybe not sure about rules, but they're working on it, and like in other countries, a lot. Maybe in few don't need license. In few maybe Marshall Island, Panama, Wyoming, but in Georgia and the most part of the world you need collect, and it huge border in RVA system at all. So it's idea brilliant, of course, but legal point very important. And second question, maybe short, about technical. How you can planning create it, which smart contracts or type of here?
So for now, what we're, since we're still on the first year, the MVP that we have done is still, it's using, at least in Georgia, we have digital signatures with our ID cards. That's what we're currently using because that's the cheapest way to do digital signatures for now, because we only recently started to expand further in the technical side for now.
Do you create tokens or NFT or not in this project?
Currently, we're still doing it through non-token ways, but we're moving into tokenization. The tokenization was what we want to do from the start, but for MVP, to demonstrate the concept, we had to use something that was easier for us to do within Georgia, so we've been using mostly digital signatures instead of actually doing smart contracts, but that's what we're moving towards.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know, maybe Max is a bit shy, but these guys are doing similar things. That it is a NOA platform, so it is. But I think you are already not MVP. You are already doing some things that already works. Yeah.
We are waiting for legal part because it's one thing which we need to do for moving forward in Georgia.
Well, I'd love to talk.
Because we have smart contracts, tokens, MVP, platform, dApps, smart contracts, and other. And clients for tokenization in real asset, but we can't move in because we need license.
Well, I could talk a bit further with you on that because the actual fractionalization part, we already have gone through several lawyers, including lawyers from the National Bank themselves, and the method that we're using for fractionalization, it's been approved by them that this can work and this is allowed. But if you have something else that we could discuss about, then I'd love to share the information with you.
Very important point for all of us, because we spent a lot of time for talking with lawyers too in Tbilisi, first of all, but in the end, which we had on last week, and we returned from Tbilisi, and talking with people who consult National Bank and others, and in the end, we need license. For other tokenization, gaming, gamification, for example, or other, okay, you don't need this, and anybody don't need. But in real world assets and legal and House of Justice and all of this traction, and receiving payments for this in fiat or crypto, you need, because you need collect personal info. Without personal info, you can't sell it for now in Georgia, how we know.
Well, again, we can discuss, because there are a few different methods you can use for fractionalization of real estate. The method that we're using beforehand was generally used for small companies, as well as a few other, because in Georgia, as you might know, there are 5 different ways you can, or 5 different legal entities you can register, which generally you would call a company. There are few that have functionality and the legal protection for investors.
But because in the end people receive property, you need info about, because like now you know about Binance and other anti-fraud, AML, Hamas and other stuff, and now you can sell it. Maybe we have one solution for this. It's when you have an example Panama DAO LLC who have these parts, fractions of real estates and made KYC, and after it you can tokenize this Panama DAO LLC and selling tokens for everybody without KYC. It's okay, but in the first step you need selling with KYC for this Panama company.
It's a hybrid LLC DAO.
Yeah. We have 5 countries maybe who can create DAO LLC. Like a solution we choosing for this here. And for other countries too. For example, for Bali, where people can create NFT, and like in Georgia, can selling it without KYC. Panama company buy part of this wheel, for example, for 50% and making KYC, and after it's selling for worldwide without problems.
Yeah, you have to expect that there's going to be a requirement of KYC and ultimately correct requirement of licensing.
Yeah.
You can work in a great
Yeah,
space
yeah.
right
Maybe.
now. But
And
you
our
have to-
lawyers
yeah,
say-
you can work with a great space, but
Yeah.
you have to
In the end, yeah, that's something that we talked about, and we've been told that currently in real estate, especially in Georgia, in the investment sense, and especially in fractionalization or digitalization, is a very gray space. But as we've been talking about with the National Bank and the papers that they've been putting out of papers of intent of what they want and how they want to regulate the Georgia real estate market, so far the intent that they put forward doesn't close the way that we operate. But in the future, since the National Bank generally announces what they're going to do at least a year ahead of when they actually do it, we have time to formalize in a different way. But currently, at least for the current year and the next year, National Bank doesn't seem to want to change the way that we do fractionalization, as such allowing us to work in that gray zone for a little bit further. But afterwards, probably we'll need to adapt, yes.
And you should watch
Thank
the
you.
Digital Lari, just that.
Yeah.
Digital Lari and the XRP pilot project that they're doing right now. And that'll be sort of the guideline to some degree as to how they're moving forward.
That and another thing that's at least, it's not the same, but because of the fact of how Georgian courts often work, it's going to still have an effect, is the new national bank's laws that they're trying to put in place on rates, the real estate-backed index funds. That's another thing that, while not directly related to what we're doing, either you or us, because of how Georgian courts often work in the field, it's most likely going to still affect, and that's something that we're watching very closely as they start to put out, but since they haven't put out a full draft of how they actually want it to legally work, just intent papers, we're still just looking at how that adapts. But we'll see, that will most likely have an effect on how real estate investment and fractionalization can work in Georgia.
So let's imagine I am Georgian, okay?
Yeah.
We'll take away the all foreigner issue. So I am, and I would like to invest in fractional real estate. So please take me through the steps of me, have no idea about tokens and what it is. I just want to bring some cash. What is the minimum investment? How I'm going to be controlling my portion of the real estate. Just take me through steps as the person who is completely unaware about the technology behind it, but would like to jump on with your project.
Okay, so currently I can only talk to you, at least I can only disclose to you how we do it in the minimum viable product, not how it's actually going to finally work. And I would like for you to understand that how the MVP works currently is vastly different, because it only shows the concept, not the actual process that it's finally going to be. But in the MVP, how it would work is, first of all, you would contact us or put in an order through email or another communication source that we have listed on our landing site currently, but on other social medias as well. You would put in that you want to invest, would then follow up with you to get the information, get the parameters in which you want, like how much is your budget, what is you're looking for, if there's any type of preference, if you have a preference for a city, if you want it for rent, or if you just want it for wealth generation over time, and a lot of other basically data points, because currently we need those data points for our tools, because the tools aren't fully finalized in the way that they can do that all by themselves. After that, we'll look through the data sets and the heat maps that our tool produces for us to see which real estates fall in the parameters that you have given, if any. If none fall in, then we'll tell you that there's nothing that we can give you or we can reliably give you that we think is going to work well, that fits these parameters, because after the tools give us the information that we need, we still do manual analysis afterwards. Because even though we're training models and we're developing the models, they're not done enough to produce reliable results all the time. So we would do manual review and manual analysis of the data that we extract. And if we find something that we think is going to fit the type of investment that you're looking for, we'll recommend that. If not, we'll tell you, hey, we cannot do anything here. But if we do find something that we recommend that you want to do fractional, first we'll also collect other people who have registered with us who tell us, hey, I want to do fractional real estate and whose parameters line up with yours. If again, since the sphere in Georgia is quite small currently, we cannot guarantee that you will always find other people who are also willing to buy it fractionally. But if we can find, and if we can connect enough people with you, or if we have other investors who also want to invest in the property, we'll connect and tell you, hey, so we can recommend that we can actually get you this property, after which we will connect you to partner brokers, which we're working with, who will actually do the final negotiation about the price, because of course we don't own all the real estate. We'll connect you with a partner broker who we can tell you that will reliably produce the results. They will negotiate on the real estate, and if a sale is achieved, it will again be sold. We'll currently we need to register it so we can actually do the fractionalization part, because again we haven't fully done finished tokenization, so it will be registered as a. Actually, I cannot disclose how it will be registered currently, but there is a way in Georgian legal system which allows us to even currently register real estate, so it can be managed by multiple people in a proportional way. You can do that directly, but then all investors will have equal say in how the property is managed, which is not profitable and is not what we're looking for, because in the general co-ownership or direct co-ownership, everyone has got a power of veto, which is going to make it difficult to sell. But the way that we have researched over the year with 3 or 4 of our lawyers will allow you to, at least for, I think it's, if you're a foreigner, it's you need to, but if you're Georgian, then we do not need to renew any documents. We do not need to verify any documents. Again, if you sign it once, it's going to be done. And after that, we're going to register the company, so that real estate with the registered legal entity, with Estriel as the administrative, or in English, I guess would be an executive position, which will allow us to trade that real estate on your behalf with other members who have also registered the real estate with us, and you can then sell the fractions that way. That's how it works currently, which again is a bit complicated, but thankfully the only input that we need from you if you're Georgian is the initial data, then if you would like to buy real estate that we recommended to you, and lastly, just signing off on the documents which will actually finalize the registration. Afterwards, first of all, you can sell within our network, of course, but if, for example, you want to sell to someone else, then of course they would also need to register and you'll be taken out of the registration, but within the network is a lot easier.
But technically you could, since you're administering it and you're an executive, you could sell all properties without their permission?
Well, no, you cannot, because the way that it's registered in Georgia, in that way, especially if you're in the executive position, and the way that it's registered, any type of liabilities will be assigned to you from your own negligence. And because of how it works, the owners or the shareholders have the right to both depose, sue, and seek damages for anything you do that is against their interests. That's actually a part even in just any Georgian legal code when it comes to companies. Even if you take that part out of the document, Georgian legal code states that that section supersedes anything you might sign in the contract. So in Georgia, you're fully protected from anything that your executive might do as long as the company is registered in Georgia. An executive cannot act. Even shareholders cannot act against other shareholders' interests. There's something in Georgia that defends against tyrannical majorities. I think that's, or dominant majority, sorry, which is how it's translated. It means that even if you have the majority shares in a company, you cannot act maliciously against minority shareholders with your decisions. It's protected by law in Georgia. So in that way, you're protected from both other shareholders as well as the executive position from acting maliciously against your favor.
And one more question about the brokerage. So do I have to go to the broker, or like?
I mean, it's not necessary to go through a broker. It's just that in Georgia, we would recommend still going through a broker that we can recommend, or you can find your own broker if you want to, just because of the fact that a lot of the times brokers can actually get you a lower price. Just because, not because better negotiation, just because in Georgia, a lot of brokers and a lot of persons have either personal listings or contracts with and connections with the other brokers or house solicitors or sellers that say that, hey, if I consistently bring you customers, give me a lower price. So even if you can negotiate very well, it's unlikely that you'll get a better price on a lot of Georgian real estate, just because of the fact that the Georgian brokerage system is really intertwined with a lot of personal connections that work on that level, which is something that as a foreigner especially wouldn't know. But if you've been talking and you've been involved in the sphere, you'll know that if you know someone and they know someone, you can generally get a better price on certain real estate. Of course, not on all real estate, but especially in Tbilisi, in certain regions, and even in Batumi, if you know a broker that is involved in the sector, they can get you better prices because of the connections that they've already established with the other players in the market.
Well, to be honest, no, this is not the experience I experienced. I think the people were giving us higher prices that when we went to my market or, my home.g, and got much better deals by directly contacting the owners of the property. Yeah, we had more difficult time finding it, but there was a direct connection, much better from our experience than with the brokerage. And also plus the fee of the broker, how you pay the fee of the broker. Everybody who invests in the fraction will split the fee?
For you will pay us and we'll pay the broker out of...
So it will be one fee to your company?
Yes, it will be, and yes, because the broker, at least the broker that we recommend to you is going to be partnered with us and we're going to be the one that paying them out. But again, you might have gotten lucky, but as a general sense, with a lot of people that we've talked to, of course, not always, but in a lot of cases, brokers tend to have personal connections, and on certain real estate, they can give you far better prices. So that's why we recommend, but of course, if you don't mind spending your time and the effort doing that yourself, of course, you could do that. It's just that we try not to get involved directly in brokerage just because that's a separate market, that's a separate industry, and we would be trying to do too many things at the same time.
No, but if your company offers directly contact with the broker,
yeah.
That saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I'll make it. Hello? Yeah. Okay, cool. The first question I had was about how you're training your models. And for instance, in the States, we had Redfin, right? So you could potentially connect the Redfin API to BARD or GPTs for the analysis?
I can give you some general, but because the developers that specifically work on that aren't currently here, I cannot give you the full technical analysis because I do the technical overview and I develop myself as well, but I am mostly involved with the... Okay, but out of the 3 tools that we had stated, I directly work on the scrapers, not the language models, because that's not my specialization.
Okay,
but
I'll just use general terms. My question is, if you use, does myhome.ge have an API? Because if it did, you could connect that to...
It has an API that we can use, of course, that's one, but some sites which do not have, depending on how they have their legal terms stated, depending on the information that is publicly visible, sometimes publicly available, but otherwise there are registries that we can use and scrape or use spiders to get the information that we need. But for websites that, of course, have APIs, I'm pretty sure myhome.ge has got an API. Of course, using the API is a lot easier.
So what I'm hearing you say is you use the scrapers. If ideally you would use the API,
yes,
and
but if
you have all the endpoints, but if you don't, you just use
the spiders.
The spiders. Okay.
Depending on sometimes, generally, of course, we get information through a lot of JSON files through requests. We then format them in. I don't remember. I think we use either Azure or Firebase. I don't remember because before we used to use Firebase, but we might be moving to Azure. I'm not fully sure about that, but basically we try to host the information there and then feed to the model as needed. But again, on how the information is fed to the model, I'm not fully sure because that's not my sphere of expertise.
Okay, cool. The last question is: in the States, we have we have syndication deals. So, let's say you want to buy a 50-unit apartment building, and then everybody comes together, and then you have the LLC, and then let's say if you're one of, I'm going to use simple math, 10 owners, if you want to exit your 10%, you could theoretically sell it to another member, syndication member. So my question is this basically an iteration of that model, or this is something that's more like basically the real estate version of CMOs,
in Georgia, there is in Georgia the syndicates I think are called cooperatives. There is something like that works, and that's an easy way to do that. But there are a few things that work with that. Is that syndicates let's call them syndicates in Georgia, need to have a specific purpose or a specific job that they do. They cannot just be a general created syndicate that does something. When you register it, it has a specific job, because then the reason why it is that if a syndicate no longer does that job and no longer achieves the results that were stated, the syndicate is to be dissolved. I think it's within either a few months or a year. So that's one way that you can do that. And for the the beginning MVP, that's one of the ways that we did. But we want to, if possible, and however possible, move to a more permanent solution. Because currently, again, if, for example, the syndicate stops, for example, let's say that you register a syndicate to rent out a property. If the syndicate stops renting out the property, or if you decide that the property is to be sold, then the syndicate will dissolve and you need to create a new syndicate for the new property that you buy. And with the syndicates, you can use them in a flexible way, because you can appoint an executive, just like in another company. You can appoint an executive which has most of the powers and handles most of the legal part, which is how we had that. But a more permanent solution is something that we're looking for with the tokenization, which is one of the reasons why we want to have a more digital version and not rely on just syndicates and legal terms and practices that are available in Georgia, because those can change. Any other questions?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I have two questions. And first, maybe I missed something, but if you don't have KYC, how do you know that your client are Georgian or foreign if you don't collect any personal data? For example, if we go to notary to actually verify and sign the documentation, most notaries have specific readers that accept Georgian ID cards. And instead of us having to verify and collect that information, the notary is responsible for that. Okay. And the second question is, for now, as I understand, it's not tokenized, but
currently, no.
Once it will be tokenized and you will be selling tokenized property or fragments of tokenized property, will it be considered by the local regulations as the virtual asset provider?
That's a gray area, at least as far as I'm aware. That's a gray area, because in Georgia, equity and basically everything that's considered an equity or a direct investment in the legal sense is regulated by the national bank. Everything, including lenders to stock exchanges and a lot of other, basically what we'd call exchanges, even crypto exchanges, are regulated by the national bank. But that is because they directly fall into the classification of what equity is under Georgian law. Real estate and digital representatives of real estate are gray area, depending on if you go to different lawyers, and you get different answers. So that's one of the other things that has been keeping us from digitalizing and tokenizing, other than the actual technical aspect, is the fact that we still don't have an answer that's concrete enough for me to be happy with to tokenize, because if it is going to be considered equity and going to be regulated by the national bank, then we need to register for a separate type of regulation under which will be monitored every year by the national bank, and we have to fall within certain parameters and a few other regulations as well. But because of the fact that real estate and other real estate representatives, non-digital ones currently, are not directly considered to be equity, it gives an idea that it's not going to be, because since non-digital representations currently aren't directly considered to be equities, because the rate laws haven't been even drafted, that gives that, at least currently for the next few years, it's not going to be considered. But depending on how the rate laws are implemented, it might be considered, because then there will be a precedent for considering digital representations of real estate to be equity and regulated by the bank. So to give a concrete answer to that, I need to wait until the national banks finalizes their law or draft on rates.
That's why I asked, because recently there is a law for virtual asset providers in Georgia, such as crypto exchanges, and everybody should have a license and implement KYC and a lot of stuff there in this law. Okay, thank you very much.
If I correct understand, for now you make a Web3 real agency.
That's what we're trying to
move for. With ChatGPT.
we're trying to move forward with brokerage and data analytics agency. With the tool, the actual data analysis tool is another part that's, at least in the current Georgia market, doesn't exist, and in a lot of other markets doesn't exist as well, that gives you the amount of information, the breadth of data that you would need to formulate a strategy. But so that's the other main selling point, but the one that we started with and that we're working for the most is fractional real estate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if somebody want to add something. Okay, thank you. So I think it's a time to finalize this discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Grigol. Of course, you can catch our speakers after this meetup. It is not a problem. They are here, and to ask some questions that you didn't ask before. And it was not so huge, but still cozy, and I think it was interesting. I guess so. I don't know about you. What I want to say else, I just wanted to invite you to our future meetups. So upcoming in December, it is about the software. We are speaking about the special soft for the first aid, and there are super speakers from the Netherlands will came. So here, living here actually, but I think it's his speech is about the Netherlands project, and we have a big planning for the New Year's party, and I think you will join us there too. So thank you for coming, guys. Thank you for joining our space co-working, and I hope to see you again here. It's okay. Thank you.